There's something I wanted to share with you and YouTube community that happened this afternoon. I was in a conversation with a man, and I guess he felt comfortable with talking to me about it, but he is married, and yet he got to talking to me and saying that boasting rather about how different and unique his wife is. And so I kept listening to him, and he got to talking about how he and his wife, he said, well, it all started, he said, can I show you a picture of my girlfriend? And I remembered talking to him some time ago that he was married. I said, oh, girlfriend? I said, aren't you married? And he said, oh, yes, I'm married. And he said, but my wife understands. I'm just glad I have a wife that understands. He said, I'll tell you about it. He said that him and his wife was at a restaurant. He showed me a picture of this young lady, this young woman, and he looks quite older than her. Um, but he has a picture of her on the front of his phone. I found that to be a red flag. But anyway, he got to talking. He said that his wife, him and his wife was at the restaurant where this girl is, I think, a waitress. And he was talking about, he was telling her how beautiful she was, and, you know, how she is just so, he was just building this young lady up and saying all these type of things that, you know, usually a man would say to his wife, the woman he loves. And he said, I was just listening. I didn't say anything. And he got to talk about boasting about how he so glad he has a wife that understands. I remember that word he would say, is understands. Kept listening to him. And I don't know if he was thinking that I was just going to give him the accolades and lift him up or say a word, but he kept going on with it. And he said, now he asked the young woman if she had a boyfriend, and she said yes. He said, well, I got an assignment for you. I want you to go to your boyfriend and tell him that you love that tell him to tell you every day that he loves you. And he said, okay, that's your assignment. I want you to go do that. And so he said they went back to this restaurant, and he asked her again, did you do that? Did you tell your boyfriend that he is to tell you he loves you every day? And she said yes. And he said, okay, I have another assignment. I want you to go back and have your boyfriend to do something. I can't quote him, but he said something to tell her boyfriend to do something wonderful, like say some more sweet words to her and how beautiful she is and all that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what about his wife who's sitting there while all this is going on? And he, mind you, he says his wife understands, he's very understanding and this and that. So I was thinking something else while he was talking. You know, some things was coming to my mind. And then he said, okay, I have another assignment. I want you to go back. And he said, I want you to, you know, have your boyfriend to do something for you. Something he said he wanted this boyfriend to do for her every day. Okay. So he said that in the next 2 weeks, they went back to this restaurant, and he asked, and she said yes. And he said that she actually came to him and ran up to him and gave him a big hug and said, I love you. And he said to this girl, I love you too. And now, like a deep, uncomfortable feeling came over me in the depth of my stomach. But I was just listening to him, and he said that the girl told him that, she thanked him and that she loved him, and she don't normally say she loves a man except her father or some other man in her life, that like a family member. She said she doesn't do that. She doesn't say I love you to a man. And she said, and I'm going to tell you why. She said, well, she says that she told this man that she was thinking of killing herself, committing suicide. What happened was the man told the girl that he also wanted her to speak to herself every day and say, you're beautiful, you are somebody, you're valued, you are to, all of these positive things that, a person should feel about themselves, that they are valuable. And so she said those words that he said to her was what stopped her from attempting suicide. So I was thinking, okay, that's a good thing that came out of that. So as he got through finishing that story, I shared with him. I told him, I said, I said, as I was listening to you, what was coming to my mind was, for a man to say those wonderful words and saying, I love you and how beautiful you are to a total stranger, someone you don't even know, that who's not your wife. Okay. It must really be something. You must really be doing some amazing things for your wife, telling her that she's beautiful, that she's loved, that every day, doing those same things and more. For you to say that to a total stranger must be amazing. For you to do that, it must be amazing for that woman to be your wife, because it's obviously you are a man that is doing that to your wife, saying those things to your wife. And he got quiet. He wasn't saying anything, but he kept being adamant about how his wife is so understanding and how she's this and how she's that. And then he started saying that his wife was just, she doesn't say anything. She just, goes along with it. Well, I said all that to say this. Now this man, he also said that people, I guess his friends or associates would always say, I don't know how your wife can put up with that, because I couldn't do it. And I agreed with him. I told him the same thing. I said it's natural to be jealous. There's a healthy form of jealousy. I mean, this is a total stranger, and you're, giving accolades to this woman who you don't even know. But now I understand there is unhealthy jealousy, but the whole point I'm trying to say here is that I said, please, I told him, I said, as we were about to wrap up our conversation, I said, don't take your wife for granted. I hope you never take her for granted, because, or think that she's, dumb or dumbed down, because she might just be putting up with a whole lot. And he said, oh yeah, I know she is. I know she puts up with that. I said, I would not take that for granted. And I cut that conversation short, because I was getting upset, because he's really, in my opinion, he is really taking this woman for granted. And I really honestly don't believe that he treats her the way she ought to be treated. But it's really sad. And it can go that way for a man as well. Just don't waste your time with individuals who are treating you second or third place when you are married. I mean, it's just really not worth it. I feel for a person like that. Now, she is responsible, and if she accepts this, that's her choice. But respect is key in a relationship. That's all I can say. Total respect. He spent that whole time also talking about other women and his ex-girlfriend. He's still involved with this person. And I said to myself, well, how would you feel if your wife was doing that? And he kind of was evasive about that, answering that question, but he got back on to talking about him and these women or ex-girlfriends that he was involved with. I thought it was just, it was just a waste of my time to continue on, because it just seemed like this is this person's personality. He just got away with so much. But that's just something I wanted to share with you that happened. And just, if you find yourself in this situation, please consider yourself and how valuable you are as a human being, because you are. You do not deserve to be putting up with something like that. You really don't. Thank you. Have a good day. I'll catch you in the next video.